Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Neil Thrussell, three times best-selling author of The Warrior's Heart, The Awakening. Well, I've got to remember my camera directions. The Warrior's Heart trilogy. And it is a trilogy, and I'm so excited. 9 years, and I cannot believe that it's been 9 crazy years since I released my first book. And I have no children, so I can't. So this reference may not be the best reference, but I was so nervous. It felt like I was birthing a child when we first launched it on a Tuesday morning. It was like, I was just on pins and needles, and truth be told, I was working a 9 to 5 at that time when A Warrior's Heart Awakening came out. So Tina, my beautiful wife of let me count this, 36 will be 36 years this July, was working frantically behind the scenes for the book launch and sending me emails and messages, and it was a crazy day, is to say the least. So if wherever you are, jump on and let us know that you're alive, that you're in. So I'm gonna just type in here and ask where are you from, and that's where you're listening from. Um, yeah. Um, so I'm just trying to fill in a little time here to get a little more of the audience on here, but the book was a journey. It was a true birthing process. In 2010, the summer of 2010, I hello Helena, from Red Deer. Um, it was a real journey. In 2010, I woke up one morning and I said to Tina, um, I want to write a book. And being as supportive as she always is, she just goes, "Oh, that's nice." And some of it was like disbelief because and she wanted to support me, but some of it was disbelief because I've taken on lots of projects and 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 really not followed through with them. And I woke up knowing I wanted to write this book because I had this reoccurring dream for almost 2 weeks. I would have this dream. I would go through the same parts, and then I would add a little more to the story. And then this went on for 2 weeks. So woke up one morning and said, Tina, I need to write a novel. And I never got right to it. So that night, I didn't have the dream again. Um, so I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And it took 3 or 4 weeks before I had this dream again. And at the time, I was working a 9 to 5. And just as luck would have it, I had my reoccurring dream and I had the day off. So the next morning, I am up at 6 in the morning and I am writing. I was not going to stop writing. So a warrior's heart, since we're starting to get more people online, a warrior's heart is a story. It's a spiritual fiction, is the genre that I've chosen to write in. And I chose spiritual fiction because I didn't have to be bound by truth. If I would have said that this was my life story or this is my experiences, then everybody wants me to prove it. So I chose to write my beliefs and thoughts as spiritual fiction so that I didn't have to prove it to anybody. And those that believed that it could be done would go, oh, okay, yeah, that's true. And those that didn't would just go, oh, well, that's a really nice story, Neil. And it, as a best-selling book, I believe that it's a wonderful story, and it's a story of a middle-aged man, Graham, going through a midlife crisis, catharsis of the soul. Um, his arrogance caused him to crash a plane in the South Pacific. And in remorse, he realized that he endangered his co pilot, Blaine. And his arrogance endangered his one, which his only friend Blaine. And when he realized that, oh my God, and Blaine has a family, and I endangered Blaine as a father, and all of these little girls that he has that I love dearly, and he's just in crisis of the soul. And when they're rescued, Graham is drawn back to the island, which I affectionately call Inspiration Island. And he's drawn to go back. He knows nothing of spirituality. He knows nothing of a higher purpose. He knows nothing of a life purpose, that there's more to life than that you can feel and touch. So Graham announces to his boss, Sarah, that I need to go back to Inspiration Island. And Inspiration Island is in the Marshall Islands chain, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And that's a story in itself. Don't put a world. Anyways, I'll get to that. So Blaine goes back. Oh, Brian was his son. Blaine, sorry, should put my glasses on. Blaine was his friend and co-pilot. So together, so Graham is a 5-star hotel camper. He's never been camping. He's never done that. So he's never done it. So he had to rely on the goodwill of his friend Blaine, his co-pilot, who he almost killed, to teach him about camping and how to light fires and how to generally survive, because Graham was going back to Inspiration Island for 30 days. So Graham makes all the arrangements, has food. Anyways, he arrives back on Inspiration Island and he goes into crisis mode. As soon as the boat's pulling away, Graham is into crisis mode because he's never been alone and he's so out of his comfort zone that it just calls him he hyperventilates, he's got panic attacks, and he's forced to reconcile that he got himself into it and he needs to work from this point of view. And I don't want to give a lot of the story away, but there is another character that I introduce, and his name is Akio. And affectionately throughout the book, he becomes Master Akio. And Master Akio is a Japanese World War II survivor. So he survived on this island in the Marshall Islands for 60 years without human contact. And the book has Master Akio become Graham's teacher when they meet. And Master Akio becomes a spiritual teacher, a heart opening, a heart wellness teacher that Graham so desperately needed. Was fun. I went on to, when I was researching this book, to figure out, because I chose that I wanted, it was gifted to me and drawn to me to have the book take place in the Marshall Islands. So I recognized that it was, and to make him a World War II survivor, I needed it to be believable. So I had to find out how to make it, how he could survive there. So I go on to an Axis and Allies forum, and which has a Japanese American section to it, and I asked how could I'm writing a book about a Japanese World War II survivor on the Marshall Islands. And both sides, hello, Sandra, both sides basically said it cannot be done. And then so I was a little disheartened because they said the way that the shelling and things took place, that there was no survivors on these little islands that I was putting Master Keo on. So it took me about 2 months to sort it out. But once I did, I went back on the forum and I said, this is what I would like to do for my story. Does this work? And I was pleased. I was just like, yay! Because they said it would work. The story they could accept that is plausible, highly unlikely, but plausible, so I could do it. And as soon as they both sides, the Japanese side and the American side, said that it was plausible, the Japanese writers and people that were posting there gave me a rank. They gave me where he could be from, because they had all the history of where all of the people were from, the Marshall Islands that were there. And they would told me what kind of family he would have, what would his kinds of belief. It was so helpful. And so then I took this information and I went on and continued writing. And it was, I as a writer, when people help you, and move your story along, I just love it. The other thing, I had a friend. Graham was a pilot. I don't fly a plane, but I needed someone that knew how to fly a plane, knew what kind of plane that I would be using, and how to crash it. And one of my friends, Adam Hunt, came to my rescue. And I asked him what we would do, and we talked about it. And he helped me write out a script, and so that it was plausible. And he helped me with intonations of, like, trying to be clear when you're doing your Mayday thing, is not going Mayday, 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 Mayday. It's like they're trained pilots. They've all been through this. They've had to do this exercise. So it's was wonderful. So I've given you a little bit of the story, but I'd like to take you back right to the beginning, a little closer to back to the beginning. That I I wrote about 10,000 words. Yes, I can, Helena. I wrote about 10,000 words. And then I sent it to a friend who was a professional editor. And I took a chance and I said, would you read this for me? And she read it. And then, out of the beautiful goodness of her heart, she edited about 1,000 to 2,000 words of it and sent it back to me and said, this is my gift to you. So, Anna Mae Fipke, if you're listening, thank you, thank you, thank you. So she gifted me with a 2 or 3,000 word edit job. And when I got it back, I went, holy shit, this is really good. I can actually write. I recognized that um, I needed an editor, because just from my writing style, that I needed an editor to make it grammatically correct. But when I read it, the tears just streamed down my face, because, oh my God, I can do this. So then that just even fired me up even more. And 80,000 words later, I I completed almost 2 years. Well, it was about 18 months, because there was still more processes that needed to be done. Actually, it was longer than that, because I was writing book two Well, I was in Costa Rica and the editor was working on, I hired an editor named Tracy Blaine to really edit my whole first manuscript. Um, so it's, yeah, it was, so it was in January that it was started the editing process, and then it was not released into to May. Huh. So if you want a copy of my book, go on to Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, and you can look up A Warrior's Heart, The Awakening, or you can search through neilthrusell.com. And the Kindle till Monday is absolutely free. It's my gift to anyone that uh, would love to read the book. I have copies for purchase, but I'm going to, like, other than if you really want me to sign it, I'm going to encourage you to go to Amazon.ca or Amazon.com, because shipping, even paying full retail, shipping is still cheaper through the Amazon site than you buying a book from me, and and um, you having to pay what it ships for in Canada. So my gift to you is a free copy, a free Kindle copy. Or if you want it autographed, they're $15, but then you have to pay directly. I will find out the shipping cost, but it's probably almost that price again from my home in Calgary, Alberta, to your location, unless you're in Calgary and we can meet somewhere with a COVID restriction, and I'll throw the book at. No, I would, because I would love to sign it. Um, so it took 2 years to write the first book. And as I was writing the first book, The Warrior's Heart, The Awakening, I'm what some people would call an emotional writer. So the emotions that I emulate the emotions of what's going on in my book. So if it's a sad, like, if I want my characters to be full-fledged tears, I'm in tears writing that. I'm emulating and I am in that moment. So Tina had come home a couple times and from doing various errands, and she'd seen me crying. And one time she comes home and she just sees me just like sobbing, and I'm like, she's like, "What's going on? What's happening in the book?" And I just said, "Oh, the book is okay, but I just realized," and I was almost three quarters of the way through A Warrior's Heart, The Awakening. "It's a trilogy. I've never written one book, and now I have to write three frickin' books." And as true to form, it was three books that were gifted to me and through me. Um, yeah, so there was a lot of um, oh, I don't know. Can you hear my chair squeaking? I'm wiggling in my, because I'm getting excited, and my chair is squeaking a bit. So I don't know if you can hear it. So I hope not. Um, oh, oh. Tina is on in Tina, my beautiful wife of 36 years, is and so yes, thank you, Helena. Was telling me she sent me a private chat. She's in the green room, looking after all the comments, so I can just be in the flow and in the moment. So has any of the listeners, the viewers, because this is on YouTube, this is on Facebook, in my Facebook groups, has anyone actually read my book, or have I got just people completely new because they care about me or they want to learn something? I know Helena text me off on a Facebook group on my Facebook page because she had some publishing questions, and that's cool. So anyone? I'm waiting for some comments. Oh, Helena is completely new, which is exciting. Okay, so I started crying that Tina that it was a third 3 books, and the crazy part is the part of my dream that drove me to write 3 books did not occur. I didn't write it out, and it didn't appear into my books until the 3rd book. I'm like, holy crap, I had this whole storyline waiting in the wings to write, but it didn't flow out of me or through me till the 3rd book. So read a little book, completely new. Anything else? Yeah, I don't know where. So okay. So I self-published my books. So every author in the deepest of heart wants to one day land a contract and have someone, Random House, Hay House, somebody say, I like what you're writing and I want to publish you. But in today's world, it's less and less likely. So I chose, because I belong to a group of life coaches and international authors who encouraged me to go the self-publish route. So I went self-published. So self-publishing really means that I do all the work and incur all the expenses, and I get more of the pie. A publisher usually gives you upfront royalties on what they think that they can sell the book. And then if they sell more copies of the book than they guess, you only get a very tiny royalty afterwards. It's so if you're a big name writer, Tom Clancy, or that have written multiple books, Robert DeJardin, the first book, they give you very little. And as you get more and more successful, they give you more and more and more and more. But it takes quite a long time to get that. And you still bear some of the risks because in today's marketplace with book sales so little and it's on Kindles and e-readers and that, they don't send you around to all the great places where 20 years ago they may have sent you on a book tour. So for me, self-publishing was the best option. Oh, sorry. And there is another option called pay to publish, which is like a vanity book, or that's the rough name for it, where you pay to publish and they look after everything for you. Yes, Helena's got working with Amazon is like dancing with the devil, and it can be, yes. So pay to publish is where you pay a lot of money, and you're paying a lot of money, and they look after it for you. But what most publishers and which most book companies don't tell you is the average first time person that's writing a book sells 150 copies of their book. That is the average. And If you don't have a marketing machine behind you, then you're in big trouble. Well, I just saw Tina flash a note that we're gonna we should stick to reading an excerpt. So I will. I need my glasses. Too much computer work. So the introduction. The adventure begins. I heard and felt the plane shake as the second engine on the Learjet 60 quit. Just fucking great. We're out of fuel in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Oh, just great. I heard the ram air turbine drop into place. Well, at least we still have hydraulics, I said to Blaine, my co pilot of almost 4 years. Yes, at least that's one good thing, he replied nervously. Blaine reached up and switched off the engine warning alarm, the giant nag, as I like to call it. The temperature in the cockpit hadn't changed in the last few minutes, but I could feel beads of sweat roll down the side of my ribs. The yoke was already slippery from my perspiring hands. I was definitely scared. Blaine stretched over behind me and grabbed my oxygen mask. I could see fear written in his eyes as he handed it to me. In turn, I reached behind Blaine and passed him his mask. I tried to hide my growing panic, but I'm sure he could see it clearly, despite my efforts. I quickly placed the oxygen mask over my face and rapidly adjusted the straps. I pushed the test button to verify I had oxygen. I heard a sound escape from the mask's regulator. I checked to make sure the positive oxygen flow light was on. I grabbed the microphone jack cord that was attached to my mask and plugged it in to the electronics console. Then I turned to make sure Blaine had his mask on. He gave me a thumbs up, and I confirmed that his positive oxygen flow light was on as well. My thoughts were swimming. How the hell did this happen? How did we run out of fuel? I know I calculated it correctly. I don't make these types of mistakes. The idiots that filled us up must have not put enough fuel in. I reached over to switch on the radio and stole a worried glance towards Blaine. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is Charlie Foxtrot, Alpha Bravo Charlie. We are 58 nautical miles northeast of Majuro at flight level 125. Double engine failure. Ditching. 2 souls on board. I waited for 15 or 20 seconds. It felt like an eternity. And then I switched the radio to 121.5 megahertz. Majuro Tower hadn't answered, but maybe another aircraft in the area would. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is Charlie Foxtrot, Alpha Bravo Charlie. We are 585 nautical miles northeast of Majuro at flight level 125. Double engine failure, ditching 2 souls on board. The silence was excruciating. I was too scared to say anything. Besides, I didn't know what to say. The only thing I could hear was my panicked breath in the oxygen mask and the sound of my heart beating into my ears. A plane was not supposed to be this quiet. I switched on the radio again. Mayday, Mayday! This is Charlie Foxtrot, Alpha Bravo Charlie. We are 585 nautical miles northeast of Majuro at flight level 125. Double engine failure, ditching 2 souls on board. Over again. The cover, everything in this book came together like magic. The graphics designer, his name is Lyle Schultz, is a friend of mine. He was out of Crossfield. And I said, Lyle, I need a book cover. And he says, okay, give me a few words. And I said that you want to depict in the cover. And I said, sunrise, two men, palm trees, and one of the characters, a Japanese World War II survivor. That's pretty much what I gave him. This is what he gave me. This is the first draft, first time out. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was perfect. I couldn't help. I couldn't help but fall in love. It was like it was perfect. It was just the synchronicities um, were just beautiful. Oh, I'm supposed to show the cover again. Okay, I'm just reading all of the. So on Amazon.com, on Amazon.ca, on Amazon.uk, all of those you can get your free Kindle. I've also reduced the prices on all of the products. And if you are not a book reader, we have A Warrior's Heart, The Awakening on audio. So it's on Audible, it's on Amazon. So it's available, or it's available as an MP3 download on our Best You Can Be website. And it'll take you a little longer because it's uncompressed MP3s and there's 20 of them. So, but that being said, you'll get the MP3s and you can put it in your MP3 reader or reader audio program. Oh, Tina's caught that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, when I wrote my first book, it was an amazing experience because Anime Fipke showed me that I could write. And then I wrote this book, and Tina did a really quick edit for it, just to make it grammatically correct, so that and readable. And then I did what's probably one of the second bravest things that I've ever done with my work is I sent it to a group of readers, and that was completely nerve-wracking. So I sent it to people that have read all types of genres, all types of books. And I said, read what you can. Hopefully you can read the whole book and then give me some feedback. And for those 3, 4, so I sent them paper copies. And then for those 3 or 4 weeks while they were reading it, I was just like, oh, stomach churning. And it was pins and needles. And then the feedback started to come back, and they liked the book. They loved the book. But if they had one suggestion, is it took too long for me to start the story. The story started when I wrote it the first time that that it was a flashback to crashing the plane, and Graham was on the island. So I changed it and crashed the plane, and then we're now living on the island. So it sped and engaged my readers. So by choosing to be vulnerable and brave, I got feedback, which once again helped me as an author be a better writer and change the book and make it far more impactful. Like without that one change, I don't think it would have been so well received. Like I sent it to the United States and all of it. I sent it to 10 people, and only one person sent it back and said, yeah, the story's good, but it's not my genre, and I found it too what is the movie Karate Kiddish, and she just couldn't see it, and that's fine. And I loved her and thanked her, and it went. So I rewrote the book. I made some um, additions, some tightened up some areas, and then I sent it back to a smaller group, and they loved the book. So I had a very big following to help bring my first book. My second book, A Warrior's Heart, Perseverance. Perseverance. Um, Same format. I wrote it, and then I sent it out to a committee, a group, and they read it and sent me feedback and offered suggestions. And the third book in the trilogy, A Warrior's Heart Convocation, I sent out to even less people because I wanted the ending of this one to be a secret to a lot of people, and it was, and it's a beautiful secret. So you'll have to either just buy that one or get the whole trilogy, which you can get on Amazon. So you can get the Kindle version for free, or you can connect, DM me. Oh, just reading. I can see what Tina is sending out, but so I'm pausing all of a sudden. Yeah. So 9 years ago, in 2000, May of 2012, I launched my book. I was number one for 3 days. 3 days, number one in Amazon. And then smut got out. 50 Shades of Grey was released on a Friday, and I was done. My marketing and my budget didn't even come into 1% of 1% of their budget. They had ads everywhere, and boom, I was kicked off number one spot. And I stayed in the top 20 for a week or 2 weeks, and then I was in the top 50 um, for the rest of the month. And it's interesting, if I go to A Warrior's Heart um, book. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can share my screen, because just by going back, oh, I'm trying to see right now, because of my free giveaway, I'm in the top 36 in Amazon right now because I'm giving it away. I'm number 36 in the metaphysical fiction genre, which makes it's good for the ego. And I don't know how many copies it have given. The giveaway just started today. So yeah. So Helena, she had a question on publishing. I don't know where I saw that. What was your question again? Can you just slide it in the questions again? Oh, Ellen, take the E off of best you can be. There's no E at the end. But can you write your question in? I don't know where I found. Marketing business development. That's an interesting one, because even to be published now, all of the publishing houses want you to have a following. So you need to create some form of following. And that's the easiest. Oh, no, there's like what I've discovered. Writing the book was, oh my gosh, it was so difficult. It was so hard um, um, to do, um, but yet the most difficult part is actually getting people to buy your book, and and getting people. What I if you have a following, then get your following to promote and market your work. Set up a day like I've done today and get people to help promote that day. Have a I don't know what your genre of your book is in. Um, I've not done any marketing companies in 9 years because I've done my own Facebook, my own um, our own marketing, and what I joint ventures. That's the word I'm looking for. Joint ventures is what you need. You need to find fellow writers that will and people that will promote your book. Relaunch it on another day. To say that I had so much fun on whatever day that you've written your book, that I had so much fun and I really want to get it out there, that I'm going to relaunch it or I'm going to promote it on this day, and I could really use. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, and that is a common unless you can keep it. I've been blessed that I belong to a group that has some reach of some of my partners have reach of in email lists in the millions, so it was not difficult for me to leverage their email list. Yes, I had to buy them coffee, and yes, I had to write copy to fit their no, I didn't. Tina did, to fit their audience. Book marketing is an entire beast by itself. And yes, you can pay thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars. And I suggest you just keep slowly building your following. Gift your book out. If you are going to build a trilogy, or gift your book for the first your book out, or gift chapters of it out. Gift readings. Um, yeah, so keep giving, and what you want in return is um, email addresses or the opportunity to speak and share your book. If you're not a speaker as an author, you're going to be, because people want to know about your book. um, who else? Any other questions besides Helen and I engaged in some beautiful conversations? Any other comments, questions from the world out there? Because if not, I'm going to just read a little more from the book. So I will just reread the part. I switched on the radio again. Well, no, I'm not reading it. I need my glasses. I switched on the radio again. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is Charlie Foxtrot, Alpha Bravo Charlie. We're 585 nautical miles northeast of Majuro at flight level 125. Double engine failure. Ditching 2 souls on board. Over. Again. Nothing. Then there's a chapter break. I felt horribly dizzy. Waves of nausea twisting and racked my body. I was in an agony. I stumbled to the edge of the palm trees and retched my lunch. As I wiped my mouth with my hand, I slipped into a full scale panic. Just as before, it was the same feeling of abandonment I had experienced the last time I was here on the island, just after the plane crash. It was all too familiar and just as terrifying. My mind frantically raced in every direction, thoughts jumping randomly until one clear and concise idea blasted through my frenzied, fogged in mind. This time it was my choice to be here. This time I had put myself here. Graham, what the hell are you doing? I looked up and watched Captain Taka and the Nanami pull away. My stomach lurched. My head started to pound. I ran wildly to the water's edge, screaming hysterically, "Wait! Come back! I've changed my mind." Waving my arms wildly in the air, desperately jumping up and down, I screamed, "Come back! Come back! Don't leave me here." I saw Captain Taka turn to look at me. I waved harder, motioning him to turn his boat around and come back. He simply raised his hand and gave me a friendly wave back and turned off into the vastness of the open ocean. I stared in disbelief as the Nanami and its captain become a small dot on the horizon. Absolute terror raced through my body as the enormity of my reckless decision came crashing down upon me. My legs buckled beneath me. My face plowed into the hot sand. I began to shake uncontrollably. "Graham, what have you done?" My brain raced wildly, seized by the fact that I was now totally alone on a deserted island again. I was stuck in the middle of nowhere with no TV, no internet, no pizza delivery, no nothing. Alone, abandoned, 24/7 for 30 days. Not the 3 days I was marooned here last time. 30 days! Shit! What was I thinking? Oh, well, Tom, as long as you're reasonably healthy, you should have the time. Um, yeah, all I can do is encourage you. Every writer, every author, every storyteller is different. Some people can sit down at a keyboard and crack out 1,000 to 2,000 words in a day, and others struggle and pound away. I am as I explained, I'm the emotional writer. So in order, I need to feel the emotion, the panic, or the fear. So when Graham is in panic mode, I'm in panic mode, and it's just like and so I feel this, and then it comes out on the pages for me. So as the emotions are going through and waving through as I'm writing, it's just crazy. Um, yeah, it's just like boom, 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 boom. As I'm reading that again, and I'm going, oh yeah, I can remember the first time. Plus, for me, and I would normally play it, but Facebook is police because I don't own the copyright to it. There is a song that I normally would play here. Here, let's see if I can get 30 seconds on it. So prior to all of my writing the first book, I would play this. I'm just trying to get us enough time in here before I think Facebook may kick me out because they've been known to cut people's sessions off. So you can listen to the song. It's on YouTube. It's Kitaro. Well, thanks for joining us, Carlene. Yeah, it's been nine crazy years. In 2014, I wrote Perseverance, and then it only took me a year to get Convocation. That just spewed out of me. It was just like, oh, it exploded out of me. Um, and the exciting part is book 4 is in the works. I am hoping to have it ready for not this for November of 2022. November of 2022, because right now I'm in the midst of another writing project, and it's just consumed me. But so I have started book book 4 of this series, and I actually thought book 3 that was done, and it took 5 years. No, it took probably we're at 9, so it probably took 8 years before I went, oh my goodness, I need there's another book here. There's another story. So hopefully, Helena, we can hold a conversation. I think I friended you. Um, um, I friended you, so we can hold a conversation offline on how to go forward. And Tom, I hope we've got. Hope I'm your friend as well. I just don't know off the top of my head. So, yeah, I hope we are, and we can hold that conversation some more. So, once again, if you've just tuned in, you can get at Amazon.ca or Amazon.com till Saturday only. You can get a free copy or I'm gifting to you a Kindle copy of on Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, Amazon.uk of my first book, A Warrior's Heart: The Awakening. I've reduced the prices on all of the products. So book 2 on Kindle, on the paperback, and I've reduced the price on the Audible or Amazon files. So, if anyone have any other questions that they would like to know about on the book, on the stories? One of the most fun session is in the book, and a lot of people giggle out of it, is Graham and Master Akio were drinking. And I won't give any more away, but they were drinking. And the next morning, Master Akio is not hungover, but Graham is hungover. And the jocularity and the the shenanigans that goes on the next morning with a very sober master and a very unsober uh, adapter pupil, Padawan. Yeah. So I'm going to say thank you all for coming and listening to me natter on. Unless there's somebody I've not said something to somebody I've missed or Tina has missed sharing, I would like to say thank you for being part of my journey. And for the 10th, we're going to do this again next year. Jody, one of my beautiful souls that I actually went to high school with, who's I've been a loyal fan and follower uh, uh, since the first book. And yes, and sometimes this is a very nice version because she's sometimes when we've met in public given me that finger wag and told me to um, smarten up and focus on writing some more. So you're welcome. Yeah, excellent. So I want to thank you all for your um, love and appreciation and for hanging out with me for, I thought I would be here for like 20 minutes, half an hour, but you guys have managed to listen to me natter on for an hour. And I'll just read a little more and then I will let you go. Graham Alexander Connolly, my mind screeched vehemently. Camping to you is a five-star hotel. Roughing it is anything less than that. Excuse me. What on earth are you doing here? The question broke my panic just enough to allow for the realization that this time I could phone Captain Taka at my time and request that he come pick me up. Even though he didn't respond to my frantic waving, I somehow knew he would come back if I called him. With that understanding, the fear slowly began to subside. My heartbeat began to slow. I eased myself to a sitting position, and the pain in my chest began to lessen. I stared long and hard at the open, relentless ocean, but could no longer see any signs of the Nanami. Okay, now what? And with that, I leave you, and I want to thank you for being part of today's adventure and my ninth anniversary celebration. Thank you, and thank you, Tina.